All right, I'm going to say it. I'm calling for Joe Biden to suspend his presidential campaign until the president recovers or comes out of a 14-day quarantine. Now, the president has a 99% chance of surviving. So chances are he'll be in quarantine for 14 days. Let's hope that. And let's pray that. Oh, I shouldn't have said hope, because chances are it was Hope Hicks, one of his most trusted advisors, who may have infected him on Air Force One. She's one of the family's most trusted advisors. But the president, who gets tested every single day, and everyone around him gets tested every single day, constantly. All precautions are taken, and he got sick. Now, if you look at social media right now, you'll see two things. Well, you'll see one, and another will be conspicuous by its absence. It is now, 9:07? Joe Biden, just about 15 minutes ago, finally put out a message from him and from Jill Biden saying, we wish the president best and a speedy recovery. It took until 10 minutes to 9 to put that out. Why did it take that long? Is he really Sleepy Joe? Was he sleeping in? And why didn't we see any other messages from Jim McGovern, Richie Neal, Nancy Pelosi, Elizabeth Warren, Ed Markey? Why didn't we see any messages from them this morning? I mean, the messages came in everywhere else from everyone wishing him well. I'll tell you why. That's what's conspicuous by its absence online. That's one of the things. The Democrats were wondering, how can we position this? How should we respond? Because, we don't want to give the president any advantage. So I'm sure they had focus groups up and running, telephone calls made to people. What do you think about the president being sick? Would it make you more likely to vote for him, less likely, or no change? They were doing that all morning. That's why no Democrats put out any message. That was what was conspicuous by its absence online. Finally, Joe Biden now, and I think as the day progresses, maybe we'll hear other things. But I'm sure somebody finally either woke up Joe Biden or said to him, hey, you got to put a message out. This is starting to look bad. We don't have the focus group results back yet, but we'll have it soon. So just put a message out, just generic though. That's why I'm calling for the campaign to be suspended. Because if it was the other way around, the campaign, the Democrats would be saying the president's disrespectful. Your opponent is sick. He's struggling. This is a deadly disease. We know he's going to be fine, but it's inappropriate to be campaigning right now. That's why I started this video by saying that, just to get your attention. But that's the one thing online that you're not seeing, conspicuous by its absence. Now, the other thing is everybody blaming the president for getting sick. Karma. You get what you deserve. Not, gee, that's the president of the United States, our president. Don't we want him to be okay? What, is Nancy Pelosi out there hoping that, let's see, if Mike Pence gets sick and then the president's sick, I could have, right. She hasn't, as of now, put anything out. But I'm sure they'll all fall into place now that Joe Biden has put something out. Or maybe they were waiting for Joe Biden to put something out. I'm serious. You don't think that behind the scenes that the Democrats weren't working this whole thing out since 1 o'clock this morning? Now, are the Republicans doing the same? Sure they are. I'm not naive. The Republicans are talking about how are we going to handle this? What are we going to do? How can we message this to our advantage in the election? I'm sure they're doing that. Absolutely. But here's what else is happening. Have you seen some of the media about this? Have you seen what's been? No, I know there's disgusting stuff written online. Die, Trump, die. You get what you deserve. I mean, it's all over the place. It's sickening. And I know there are people on the right who write sickening things. But the left always talks about how they are the most compassionate. They really care. Well, if they're so compassionate and they care, why aren't they concerned about the president? Why aren't they? I mean, he's our president of the United States. Are we that divided? He's a grandfather. Let's just think about that. He's the president of the United States, so he deserves our respect. He's a grandfather. You think that's nice? I mean, really. No, I know a lot of people are grandfathers, and why would you say something awful? But he's sick. Somebody's grandpa is sick. They're reading about. I'm just telling you what the left would say if this was Joe Biden. That's what they'd say. So here's what I want you to do through the course of the day. I want you to, everything you read online, everything you read and see, everything you watch, everything you hear, every time you hear Trump and First Lady, substitute it with Joe and Jill Biden and see if that article would have been written about them if they were the ones to be infected. Do that through the course of the day. It'll be very, very interesting. Because you know what's going to come up? And I don't know if anybody has said it so far, but I'm sure it's going to be said. Oh, the president's going to be fine. He's got the best health care in the world. But what about the poor single mother with 2 kids, working 2 jobs, who has a COVID infection? The president wants to take away her health care. The Affordable Care Act, Obamacare. That's the kind of stuff that you're going to hear today. So again, as you go through the course of the day, substitute and tell me if you ever think that they would say this about Joe Biden and Jill Biden. Finally, when are we going to hold the Chinese accountable? I mean, I said early on when COVID was released and when COVID made it to our shores, this is an attack. And you say, Jim, come on. I mean, let me explain to you how it's an attack. Let's say you got a person, they get drunk as a skunk, and they get into a car, and they smash into another car, and they kill 5 people. Are they negligent? Are they responsible for that death or those deaths? Yes, they are. The Chinese are responsible. See, they got in that car drunk, but their way of doing it was they knew they had COVID-19. Whether you believe it was made in a lab or not, I don't think it was made in a lab, but they knew that COVID-19 was out there, it was easily transmissible, it was deadly, and they did nothing about it. They covered it up. Oh, they took care of their own, but they covered it up. That's no different than a drunk getting in a car. So now the attack has gone all the way to the White House, and the president contracted COVID-19, or he's infected with it. He's not showing any symptoms yet, and I hope he never does, and I hope the First Lady never does, and I hope Hope Hicks has a speedy recovery. But this is an attack by the Chinese right into the White House. It has to be looked at that way. Their negligence caused this to happen. They wouldn't share it with the World Health Organization. They wouldn't tell anybody else, and they still haven't told us how many of their people have died, nor of the Russians. So we don't have the greatest number of deaths in the world. I guarantee you that. Stories of bulldozers pushing bodies into graves in China. True story. True story. I believe it. So anyway, that's where we are. So today, through the day, make sure everything that you read, substitute Joe and Jill Biden. And remember the mantra that Democrats live by. Never let a good crisis go to waste. Joe Biden is supposed to be in Michigan today, campaigning. I bet he'll be there. If it was the other way around and Trump was on the road, well, you know what would happen. Hey, what do you think about this? Send me a message, Jim Polito, on Facebook, or Jim Polito at Twitter. Yeah, both look for the blue check. Have a great day, everybody, and I hope you stay healthy, too.